Hi Joe, thank you for spending this time with me today, sharing your experiences of Marga therapy with everybody. So firstly, can I ask, when you first came to meet me for a treatment, can you recall what you came in for?
So that was for my back. I'd never had any back problems before, and I literally woke up one day and I couldn't move. My back had locked up completely. Slowly movement came back, and then a friend of mine recommended to go and see you, and we started off just with massage, and from then on, I think I must have seen you probably about 5 times, I would have thought.
And how did what I do help you with your back problem?
Well, there was immediate relief, literally being able to move more than I could, rather than doing the stiff thing. I remember, you got to actually train me to let go of it and actually get, right, it's better now, stop walking like it's bad and actually use your back. And then it was just simple things like that, and then I was able to actually go longer and longer between needing to see you, because I could do the stretches, I could do the exercises, and like I was saying earlier, just breathing properly actually was making a difference to my back.
So tell me, Joe, how did the treatment affect your back? You said that you had an immediate release,
Yeah.
and you said that you had 5 treatments, and after that?
And then you recommended that I do some strengthening. So we talked through what was causing my back to actually keep getting locked up, and we realised I had no core strength at all. It was something I'd never even thought about. And you recommended that I do yoga or Pilates or something like that, and I started doing a course, and from then I don't think I saw you then for 9 months or something like that.
Okay,
cool. It was a water skiing accident, because I do remember coming off at high speed, and I remember feeling like I'd kicked myself in the back of the head, and thinking, that's not right. But no immediate back problem after that. It took it was a few months before suddenly this damage seemed to be coming through, and that's what I think we believe really was the main cause of it. And then from then on, it turns out I didn't have any core strength and the muscle structure that I needed to support that part of my back, and that's why there's all these underlying problems coming out.
And now?
And now it's much better. I haven't actually had a problem with that area of my back for a long, long time. And if I feel a twinge, I now know the exercises. You gave me some exercises to do, and I know the exercises to do that it prevents it actually happening. And it's a really simple routine.
Perfect.
And that helps a lot.
Brilliant. Now, Joe, you're one of my special clients, or they're all special, of course, but we've got a particularly special bond.
Yes.
Would you like to tell me about another treatment that I helped you with?
Yeah. It's a prenatal treatment, and basically my partner and I were trying to conceive for probably about a year, and doctors were being brilliant, and I was having blood tests, and we were trying to find out what was going on, and we couldn't pinpoint what was going on. And I know I was being taken down the route of probably an ovulation issue. So we were going down that road with the doctors, and again, family friends said, look, why don't you go and see Dawn and go and talk to her and see what you can talk about. And we started off, I think the idea was to start off with tapping and talking about things like that. And I think it was like 3 hours or something, wasn't it? A long amount of time talking through some ideas about pregnancy that I had no idea that I had, and feelings associated with pregnancy that I didn't realise that I had, and just making myself far more positive about the whole process. And I remember going into it going, feeling quite cynical and feeling like, you know, I don't know how I'm going to get myself out of the feeling like this about pregnancy, and just then suddenly feeling like this huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and within, I think it was within like a month and a bit, my cycles went from going from 28 days to 44 days, suddenly started going back to 28 days. And then I think it was within about 4 months, we naturally conceived.
And by this time you'd already seen somebody.
Yeah, I'd been to see a fertility specialist. I'd been, I think, once for a consultation, and then we've gone back a second time and actually recommended, well, I was told I probably wasn't ovulating at all, and they had given me a fertility drug, and I was all ready to actually start the fertility drug. And yeah, things were all ready to go, and I never had to take that fertility drug.
If I remember correctly, your cycles historically had been not quite regulated. I don't like to use the word normal.
Yeah, never quite there. I mean, I don't think I really had ever analysed it, because you don't until you really start looking into these things. But once I started analysing it, it was quite obvious it had never been a regular cycle.
I think I recall that you'd started off with a very, very long cycle, and after the first session that we did, which was EFT and a lot of counselling, it wasn't.
Yes.
It wasn't. Well, I say counselling. When I say counselling, I mean talk.
Yes. Yeah.
and understand.
Yeah.
But I think that the thing that made me very interested with your case particularly, because we started at 44 days and then it came down to something 30-something days, and then it came down again to lower 30s, and then 20-something, and then you were pregnant, and I knew.
Yeah. yeah. You knew. I think you actually hinted to my sister-in-law before we even got to say anything.
I nearly let the cat out of the bag.
Yes.
I'm sorry. What do you think was stopping you from becoming pregnant?
I think hugely was my own perceptions of pregnancy, my own way of visualising it, my own way of perceiving it, and then being able to look at it in a completely different light and letting go of all the negativity that I didn't even know I had associated with it, and just actually going, okay, I'm gonna, let it go.
Jo, if somebody came to you and said, I need help with an issue, what would you suggest that I can help them with as a therapist?
Yeah, I think there's just so many things. I think there's a huge variety of things, but personally, the biggest thing was the prenatal issue, and just letting go of that sadness and that negativity that I didn't even know that I was holding, and just realising things will happen when they happen, and you've just got to try and enjoy yourself, really.
And a few months on, how old is he now?
He's 6-7 months old.
7 months old, and let me assure you, if it was a girl, it was going to be called Dawn. But somehow he loves me to pieces, and I can get a better smile than other people I can mention.
He's a fan.
I've got a Dawn fan of all age. Jo, thank you very much. I know that you have to run because you have to go and do the stuff with the family, but I look forward to speaking to you again. And once again, thank you for this time.
Okay.